Crap, I need to put the 2v2 frame on. Have I got it? I'll be 1 second, guys. I'll have to change it next game. I've got one, I just haven't got it on. Okay, so... have I got that actually set up properly? I have. Cool. So I got everything else set up properly. Sorry to mess you guys around so much today. Spawning on the top side of the map, as player 1, we've got Szabtam68, and I'm actually just going to mute myself and deafen myself in Discord.
Yeah, I'm just...
There we go. There we go. So we've got Szabtam68 as Egypt. He's just going on the berries for now. And he's actually got his sheep already, so he's sort of rallied them here. But it looks like he doesn't seem to be making any gathering facilities at the moment. Neither does Zenorhk, his teammate. Zenorhk, I think is... Zenorhk Hong Kong, maybe? Or is it Zenorhk, like one word? I'm not sure. Anyway, we've got Zenorhk or Zenorhk in the top side of the map. And I'm going to have to pick one of those two. I'm not going to say both all game long. And as Team 2, this player number 3, we've got HappySmurf getting his early barracks, taking his early hunt, and gathering the wood near it as well. So he seems to be opting for a fairly more fleshed out build here, really, because these guys, they haven't really got the ball rolling just yet. There's a storehouse from Szabtam, and Zenorhk is still just distance gathering with everything here. Meanwhile, SpartanXElite also barracks, and this is really quite a nice placement. It's not too far to be gathering the wood in the interim if he wants to, but it looks like he's just going to go for 7 villagers all on the hunt to begin with. He wants to gather up all that food really quickly. Maybe just because it's over on the front side of his base, he might be a little bit worried and just might want to just cram out a lot of food, because he is, getting spears, getting villagers, so he's getting a lot of early food, and he is probably going to pick up this watchtower from Szabtam. Although this is an interesting position, because if he does get this up, he's going to be able to see all this. At the moment, Szabtam doesn't know about all this, but if this watchtower finishes up, I believe he will. Yeah, so he does see all this, does even see the storehouse, so that's even lit up for him. Wow, that's really cool. So it sort of even lights up buildings just outside of the range of it, too, somehow. So, yeah, unless that's a bug that I just get as an observer. So, we've got a Templar Ra going up here for Szabtam, and yeah, so Szabtam's got his age 2 already. Zenorhk has now finally got double storehouse, even got a longhouse up here. Maybe to garrison if he takes a storehouse up here later on. Hasn't got his age 2 yet, but it is in queue. But he's fairly behind on resources now with all that distance gathering. So he's already sort of off on a bit of a back foot. And Happy has got defensive spear at the moment, and he's got 4 actually already on Zenorhk's base. So he's forcing a lot of worker pullbacks. I think Zenorhk has just clicked rallied to town center, the town bell, so that's gonna really slow him down even more, because right now Happy hasn't actually lost a spearman for this yet. He's got one really low though because of the town center fire, and there is barracks coming up now for Zenorhk, sorry. And Szabtam, in the meanwhile, is also under a bit of pressure here, because as he goes to try and take this hunt, or tries to take this barracks, SpartanXElite's going to see it, so this is going to get interrupted. This isn't going to be very good for the openings of either player on Team 1. Meanwhile, Team 2 in quite a strong position now. Sorry, we've got Happy getting his age up. SpartanXElite up to 20 villagers himself, Happy on 18. And 15 and 19 for Szabtam and Zenorhk. So Szabtam already down a couple of workers, already having to take the loom tech. Still hasn't got a production facility up just yet. Zenorhk in the meanwhile has. So he might be safe for the interim. But Szabtam is actually getting a lot of vision here. But meanwhile, isn't really gathering much at home. He's going to get this early barracks up and maybe able to save most of these villages. But I think SpartanXElite's seen this, so he's going to try and attempt to snipe it. I think Szabtam's just going to try and mass it. All of this village is over to try and deal with the spears at this stage and maybe attempt again, because he does have enough wood in the bank to throw down a couple. But it looks like he's just going to take the fight, and he's going to have to get all the villagers to try and focus down the spearmen or rally some back together, which he is doing already. Looks like he's going to try and take some stone as well, maybe get some towers or his second town center, which would be nice if he does get that second town center, because hopefully these guys sort of already got the gist of the villager production, the fact that the game is very economy centric. So HappySmurf and SpartanXElite with their 22 and 23 villager count already over the 15 and 24 from Zenorhk. So Zenorhk's actually producing his villagers quite well, hasn't really lost too many from Happy's initial push, but Szabtam already really falling behind with the village count, but in the meantime he's starting to get a bit of stone. Also Zenorhk, and Szabtam's actually pulled off his stone to get up a fast tower, so I'm not sure if that's really the ideal play here, but in saying that, he might be able to get this out before the spears hit, whereas he would have to get a lot of stone earlier. But in saying that, this is really going to delay his economy now, because he's cut his stone gathering from here, whereas if he perhaps had thrown this up with other villagers off, say, the wood line, because he's already got the wood and just focused on gathering his stone, he might not be so far behind in taking his next town center. So perhaps that's maybe something he's going to have to tidy up next time. Looks like he's going to retreat here, and in the meantime on the top side of the map, Zenorhk has got a tower up here to defend the barracks, but looks like Happy's just got too many units here for Zenorhk to want to take the engage, and he's even called the town bell again, which means he's got all of his 29 villages. It's a good count, his villager count, but he's just forcing all 29 of them to enter a building at once, and it's really going to slow him down. He's even going to send his villagers onto the guard tower. Oh, he's actually pulled them away. So this is quite smart. He's got the villagers on there initially, but he's actually going to send his military units. So it's going to leave him free to gather, and I think he's just going to take this topside gold mine with those. Might be nice if he even looks at adding in a market once he kills these wolves. So let's see how the guys respond. And now we've got Szabtam in a bit more of a defendable position. SpartanXElite's not just going to be able to throw units into his base and deal a lot of economic damage for it. There's a little bit here to help defend, but it's really going to slow him down economically because he still hasn't opted for that town center. So he's only on the single worker production, only on 20 villages. Zenorhk, in the meanwhile, his teammate up by 12 on 32. SpartanXElite on 30, and HappySmurf on 29. So Zenorhk is really droning up as players that would play a bit of Zerg like myself would say. His droning up's better than everyone else's, but yeah, his decision making with the fighting, I mean with the buildings is perhaps not the best here, because he is having to invest in these towers and hasn't taken his age 2 town center. So Szabtam in the meanwhile is defending here quite well, but isn't taking his town center either. And so HappySmurf already has his, SpartanXElite already getting his. So it looks like Happy's really spending probably the best, I'd say. Could probably do with another couple of workers, but it seems like, yeah, he and SpartanXElite have really had a good start over their opponents, and they've got good unit counts, whereas these guys on the north side, they just don't seem to really have an edge over their opponents in either side here. So Zenorhk, he does have that good worker count, but he's cut his worker production for the time being and is floating a lot of food. His score is largely because of all these bank resources, and he needs to get this town center down. That's a lot of food. The 2.5k bank before 10 minutes, really. He could, with his villager production up to this point has been crazy good, but it's all just coming to a standstill on all the lack of any spending. He really needs to get another production facility or 3 out at this point. Needs to gather up a lot of wood. Needs to get second town center. Get his a lot of houses out. So he really needs to start booming in terms of his population now that he's boomed in terms of his resources. And in the meanwhile, he is going to get an age 3, so this is going to give him potentially a tech advantage over the others, but he is really, really low in population at the moment. He's only got 5 military units, and one of them is a scout. So meanwhile, SpartanXElite has a huge force here, and he's going to be pushing into Szabtam, who's hasn't really got the forces to deal with this. He's only got a couple of axemen, only got a couple of spearmen, and he's got quite a number of slingers, which are relatively ineffective in this matchup unless the Norse player adds skirmishes, which SpartanXElite actually does, which is a little bit interesting because really he could probably just mass up with throwing axemen and raiders at this point. And there's a Templar set coming out for Szabtam, so it looks like they're actually going to get the age advantage over the south side at the moment, who haven't really looked at applying any early pressure, mid-game pressure after their early pushes. But now, here we go, there's a bit more of a heavy skirmish now with a good number of SpartanXElite's forces coming in right now, and Szabtam will also have to rally everything back. I think this is really going to be the death knell for him from here, because Zenorhk even going to try and rush the defense and throw up a defensive fortress on his allies' base. So if he can get this up, this may be worth it. But he's actually decided against it for this point in time. He's thinking maybe SpartanXElite might try and pull back and deal with Zenorhk. But there's a lot of villagers of Szabtam's headed up here. He's throwing down and then cancelled a second town center. And HappySmurf in the meantime, I think he's just... Did he even take a fight then? HappySmurf actually not really even taking a fight, just having a look, seeing there's a couple of towers up and going, well, he's made that commitment, I don't really need to actually take a fight here. He spent the resources on that, I can get him next time perhaps. And so Zenorhk throwing up a bit of a wall here to help defend. Happy already got a couple of, well, one layer of walls, a couple of layers of houses here. And SpartanXElite really pushing into Szabtam's base. Come on, Szabtam, you can do it, buddy. So Szabtam getting another tower. He's going to be able to defend this town center a little bit better. That's a lot of stone though, and he is distance gathering this wood. Doesn't seem to be adding really any production facilities yet. And these barracks are in a really dangerous position. It looks like they're going to fall, and SpartanXElite is going to be free to look at catching up in terms of the ages with Happy and Zenorhk, and Szabtam didn't actually get there in the end. So he's still stuck in age 2 after a bit of a commitment and after losing a lot of his base, so he's actually going to go for some defensive towers now. And Happy getting a good number of siege workshops here, a pair of them just add into the mix. SpartanXElite taking some forward production facilities, so he's really going to be able to remax his units just outside of the town center range there. And it looks like Zenorhk will also have to pull back after pinching this berries over this side of the map. So perhaps he may have slowed down Szabtam in the sense that, you know, Szabtam couldn't gather from there, but perhaps it's also smart because now Szabtam can take these up here. They don't have to worry about here in case one of the south side players tries to scout. So perhaps that can work in their favour in a little bit. But Szabtam is really having to rely on being short up here against Zenorhk, who's got a really nice wall now, and both players can sort of do a bit of trading safely in one another's arms here right now, because it looks like these guys on the south side are going to be free to do it across basically half the map at this point. And we've got caravan here for SpartanXElite, little bear running the food across. Good boy. So we've got some rams added here for Happy. He knows, well, Zenorhk's probably walled up behind this mass of towers. He's going to be probably playing pretty turtley. So I'm just going to try and kick down the door. We've got couple of stables, couple of barracks going up here for SpartanXElite. And he's going to lose a couple of workers, a couple of units taking this, but he's going to take a town centre. And there is more production coming up here for Szabtam. So he's got a couple of barracks. This fortress from Zenorhk here to help him. These walls for Zenorhk are going to come crashing down because HappySmurf is here, and this defensive fortress just... Ooh, we're going to fall here. Yeah, so the defensive fortress on this side of the map does get killed. Really, Zenorhk now really exposed after spending a lot of time trying to help out Szabtam there. Looks like Happy is going to be able to kick down the door for sure. He's destroyed the unfinished tower. He's going to get a whole bunch of villager kills here. And Szabtam, in the meantime, he's trying to mass up some units to help out his teammate, but I don't know if it's going to make it here in time. Town centre for Zenorhk, quite low. SpartanXElite aging up behind this, so he's got his third age. He's getting some economic techs. Villager count, we're looking at 55 and 57 to 29 and 27. So about a 30 villager lead for both players, so 60 in total. Not looking very good for Northside because Zenorhk has lost his initial town centre. He's going to take one quite close here, and he hasn't even got... He is adding them now. Didn't have all the villagers there building it, and hopefully these villagers aren't going to lead Happy there, but Happy actually pulls his hyper away. He isn't going to spot this for a little bit longer. And we got SpartanXElite throwing up a town centre pretty much just outside of Szabtam's new base. His original base now pretty much well and truly claimed by SpartanXElite, taking even more production facilities in this zone. So Szabtam taps out, and I think Zenorhk probably isn't going to be able to push the win from here without him. Looks like Happy's going to, at first, continue to try pushing into Szabtam until he scouts this little base. So Zenorhk taps out. GG. Happy and SpartanXElite are victorious. What a beast! Alright, so in terms of villager production, SpartanXElite and Zenorhk trading blows for most of it, and Happy actually catching up at the end of the game. Still quite low counts overall.